Kelis is upset. I think it's been everything's been.
Is she?
Oh man, Kelis is upset. She's mad.
We got that sound bite.
We got you mad?
We got it, but it'd take me a second to get there.
All right. So apparently she was sampled twice.
You big man.
Yeah, she's big man. There we go. Oh, you put the laugh at the end. Okay. She's big mad because she got sampled twice on Renaissance. Pharrell didn't call. Label didn't call. Yes, they just went ahead and chopped it up and used it. And she was a little upset. I guess this has since been cleared.
I mean, there's some layers to that, though. But
matter of fact, I'm gonna lead in by asking you, because when we talked about it on the little bit the pre-show before we started, you started talking about history with Kelis and mentioning certain things. So how do you feel about her going public, because she technically was not notified that 2 of her records were sampled?
Well, she doesn't own those verses, so she probably wouldn't be notified.
Okay.
So there's that.
Okay.
I'm not saying.
Does she own nothing?
That's my question.
From my understanding, I think Pharrell has ownership of a lot of that stuff.
A lot.
That's kind of different, because Pharrell is fighting for rights for artists, and this is one of his artists, and he owns all of her material.
Just talked about Mace last week.
Here we go.
We just had the conversation, and Mace actually gave that young man $750,000 as well. So
after the fact, yeah.
Yeah, but we're talking
still
about,
owns his masters.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the deal's not as bad as it seemed like it was.
Yeah, definitely not as bad as he seems.
Yeah,
but with Kelis, I mean, we know Kelis has a storied past of, I can't even say the word. We just had a whole segment about the word I can't say now.
Yeah.
Of going off.
Going off. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Of going off the deep end on certain things that may not be as big as they are or seem to be. I want to thank her for putting the battery in Nas's back to create an incredible album.
Yeah,
Life is Good, based on his relationship with her. And she took him to the cleaners over their child, but that's neither here nor there either.
That album was very good.
Yeah, very good. But Kelis doesn't own any of her masters, and they are Pharrell's. And I understand her being mad at that. Now,
you can give her that, right?
I give her that.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, what kind of relationship does her and Beyonce have? Are they friends to the point where, I'm going to call you and talk to you? Does Beyonce actually know that Kelis was featured on or sampled on that song? Because I didn't hear it. I don't know if y'all listened to the song.
I haven't listened.
I couldn't find the sample after I listened to it.
Now, this song was Milkshake, right? Was that the one, or what song did she?
Apparently, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one that was supposed to be shut.
Now, since it has been removed.
Yes.
Yeah, they took it off.
They took it off, but
so she could have actually eventually got something off of it, but now the song is
probably
gone.
not.
Because if the ownership is layered how you said, she still might not have really ate off of it if they continue to rock with the sample,
She might
right?
not, but I mean, it probably kind of looks good that your name is written as a co-writer on a Beyonce track.
Yeah, but she probably passed that, bro. Like that would be more of a, if I'm in my early 20s and I got a writing credit with Beyonce. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, unfortunately, she doesn't own her rights, and it's almost like, I hate to mention Nas, but he didn't own his sample either when Jay-Z used it.
Yep.
And he kind of used that against him when they were going back and forth in their rap battle.
Searchlight Publishing.
Right. So I mean, it's just a matter of knowing or owning your masters, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's not her fault that she was young and signed a record deal and doesn't own her masters. But I don't think the fault falls within Beyonce. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of whack to point fingers at her like, well, she should have called me up. I mean, this is Beyonce we talking about.
I mean, she did, she definitely put Beyonce in the forefront, but she was dragging Pharrell too, though.
She clarified it.
Yeah, like
in her video, she clarified. She said, "Look, I still feel like," essentially, she said she feels like she should have gotten a call or something if her stuff's going to be used, but she made it clear that her issue was with Pharrell.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Beyonce was obviously pushed out to the front because it's her album, but she did really go in on Pharrell.
No, I understand her qualm with Pharrell.
Yeah.
If she doesn't own her music, I mean, the same thing we just talked about with Mace.
Right.
and Diddy.
Did you hear what she said about '𝐀𝐄𝐃𝐄𝐃?
Nah, what she
Nah,
said about
I
him?
didn't-
She
She had
said
a couple videos.
She said, and it was one of the videos. She said, and Chad, he doesn't have a spine. It's amazing that he can even keep his head up.
Oh wow.
What? Chad,
And mind you, I don't
dislike.
dislike Kelis. I think Kelis is a dope artist.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't
But
do
she
that,
has
J.
not
Moore. Don't
made
do that.
anything. She hasn't made anything in how long?
Yeah,
It's been a while.
She's moved on. She's doing other things. I
Yeah,
think.
she's like got like a
I mean,
cooking channel now.
She
She's
probably still can.
she has
perform them jams,
Nas's
though.
money. That's what's going on.
Hey,
right
good
now.
for her.
Nas has a lot of money right now. I mean, he has
Oh.
patents and inventions and stuff. He
Nas
didn't
has
back.
come up a lot since that situation. I will say that.
That's yes.
So that brother-
And he's
Good.
he's cutting her a check. That's why she doesn't need to do anything. But that's neither here nor there.
No, and I didn't see. I saw one of the. I believe there's two. I didn't see the part where she mentioned him not being able to hold his head up. That's crazy.
Yeah,
So
and I think that's in reference to who owns the
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
You know, and she was essentially. I mean, she clowned Chad, but she's really kind of focusing it towards Pharrell.
You're not ever getting your rights back now. You talk
No.
crazy about my friend.
Jay Moore, talk to me, man.
He gonna sell her stuff to somebody
100%,
else.
100%. Jay Moore, talk to me, man. Is there anything that we've missed?
I don't think there's anything that we've really missed, but you just got to understand, man, when you don't own 100% of what it is that you create,
Yeah.
you know, I don't, did Beyonce call up Twinkie and the rest of the Clark sisters, you know, and say, hey, can I use this?
Wow.
Well, because, you know, they don't own all that. You know, the thing is, if it's clear between the lawyers and the people who own the rights and everything is taken care of on the back end,
Yeah.
then honestly, I you know, I know it's messed up that so many young artists are taken advantage of, and they just sign something so they can get a little piece of money and a little piece of fame, and then they realize 20 years later, oh, maybe I should have read my contract. It seems to be the most tried and true part,
Redundant.
you know, repetitive thing that happens in the music industry. But you know, I'm just also one of those people who's like, why do you think they're going to ask you for permission and try to get the heads up with you? Because like, if you see how these artists clear samples, they don't hit up the artist and be like, hey, is it cool? Like they hit up especially if the artist doesn't own. Now, if the artist, because I remember reading a story about how like Michael McDonald wasn't really cool when he heard Regulate for the first time, you know. But
They finally met and
I mean,
had a
but when
conversation.
those checks start coming in the mail,
There we go.
you know,
Shaka Khan still don't like The Wire.
yeah, you know, but
Saw that today.
you know, but I remember seeing Lenny Williams.
Oh yeah.
When he saw, you know, when he was able to like, shoot, when I saw those checks come in from Overnight Celebrity?
Overnight Celebrity.
Yeah, I got over whatever feelings I had.
Sting.
Sting got a bag.
Sting almost love when somebody sample him now.
Well, yeah, because he takes almost 100% of the songwriting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but that's the difference between owning your art and having somebody administrate, you know, the ownership of your art.
Definitely.
I feel for Kelis, like I said, because she was young and she probably was taken advantage of, just like the majority of artists are taken care of. You know, that first deal, nobody has a dope first deal. I don't think anybody,
Unless you Master P.
you know, but, you know, even that wasn't his first deal.
Well, yeah.
Well,
you
the
know,
Rockefeller deal was a pretty solid deal.
But that was because remember they had to go through priority first,
Yeah.
you know, before they got their situation with Def Jam, where they were partnered with Def Jam.
But
So
didn't Pete take home?
once again,
80?
it was basically he had to be independent. He had to have that leverage first.
True,
Most of the time,
true.
a 19-year-old Kelis did not have leverage to
Nowhere
be able
near
to
that.
say,
I agree.
I want to own my masters. Like, you think about everything, you know, if we all watch the movie Ray, how much work he had to put in before he could go to the people and say, I want to own my masters.
That
You saw
wasn't
how
part
dude-
of the game back then, though. I mean,
It wasn't, but you know, like I said, when you are 19 years old, you
Yeah.
have no hit records, and someone's saying, "Hey, this person is talented," you have no leverage to now. Sometimes you just never know if you go in and ask for those things, and you actually have a little
If you
bit
know.
more, and somebody has schooled you to the game. I know everybody talks about how I bring up Ice-T, but Ice-T had an incredible first deal with Warner Brothers. You know, and he was, you know, he was managed by William Morris, and he talks about this ad nauseum. But you know, I'm not going to get into all that. But a lot of times people have, you know, you don't know these words that are on this paper, and it's something that lawyers have trouble deciphering sometimes. You know, but
they just wanted a deal at the end of the day. Back then,
and I'm just
who am I to blame them?
And
for
I'm just saying, and I
wanting a
know,
deal?
right?
You know, Lone as an artist, you know, if say somebody, you know, heard something that he did and then they wanted to sample it. Now, mind you, you know, he owns what he does, so they'd have to go ahead and clear it personally through him. There's most artists in this industry, when somebody samples you, like unless you're like Stevie Wonder or Aretha Franklin, like those people turn samples down, because Aretha Franklin, I remember, would not clear anything that had curses in it. Curses, whatever. You know, Stevie Wonder, I remember the original version of Me and My Bee off of Ready to Die had a Minnie Riperton sample in it, and it was a song that Stevie Wonder wrote. He heard all that cursing and was like, nah, I'm not clearing that. You know, so, you know, you had to have like the original Big Mac cassette to hear the original version of that song, because it wasn't on the retail version of the album. You know, so what you're able to control once you're an artist, it winds up being sampled, because this is the wild thing now. People are they're sampling the 90s, and now we're getting to the early 2000s of people getting sampled.
Old when I hear 90s samples.
You know, I heard there's this
It
girl.
almost seems like it's too early.
It does, but
it equates to the same amount of time.
It equates, you know,
that we were
when we were
listening to songs.
Actually farther.
The stuff that was being sampled was about the same time.
That's 20 to 30 years ago.
Because
when I was in 2000, in 2000 I was sampling, or 2005, 20 years before that was what, 85?
Yeah.
I mean,
look, between
Big
the
Papa
sheets,
Big Papa
was 93. Between the Sheets came out, what, 82, 83?
Yeah.
So it's barely 10 years.
I'm looking at it, and in my mind, I'm going back and hearing. I remember vividly when Jodeci came out. So to hear those records being sampled now, to Lone's point, it is further back, which is crazy to me.
It's weird.
That's a long time ago.
Like
I
heard a song where the girl, she sampled Boyz II Men's "Doing Just Fine" off of the album Evolution. But you know, you got to think about it. Okay, it's 2022. Evolution came out 98, 97, 98.
97.
Yeah.
Yep, following 97.
So
that was the third.
That's the third
album.
now.
Okay.
So now you're talking about more than 20 years. Like, honestly, they're reaching back further.
Yeah.
Like, because, you know, Puff was sampling stuff from the 80s.
The thing is,
in the 90s.
The difference of what they're doing is they're actually sampling the sample.
That's what I've been speaking on the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are sampling samples of samples, and so the amount of songwriters is just
that's how you get
amplified.
that's how you get 24 songwriters on a song.
Yeah, exactly. And it's don't get me wrong, people are going at what's her name,
Diane.
Warren. But I mean, hey, I feel the same way. Like it's super weird to have, like, when I see a song that has 24 songwriters on it, I'm like, it's like they got to be horrible. Like
the sheets, especially the split sheet have to be ridiculous.
Especially people that can afford to like have people play stuff and own everything. It's just like,
you have the budget to bring in people to do what Lone said. You clearly have the budget to do that. You could do that, but
or you just hire Beats by the Pound and they'll
or anybody
reinterpolate it.
You can do that too.
Big Bass Brian used to do it for Ruthless
Record. By the pound,
Get old boy singing "Somebody's Watching Me" for you.
No, don't get that.
We don't want that.
I've always been under the interpretation, and maybe I'm wrong in this, and somebody can maybe say I'm wrong, but I was always under the, and I don't think I'm wrong about this, but I feel like to actually clear a sample, you have to have permission from everybody that has ownership on it. You can't just get.
That's what I thought.
You can't get 90% of the people that have ownership on it. You have to get 100%, which is why stuff gets caught up so often.
That's what I thought.
But it's wild because so many artists own 0% of their art.
Which is crazy. But to the Kelis,
Kelis. Now I'm saying it wrong. Kelis.
Yeah.
Kelis, thank you.
Kelis.
Like Ebro and Ebro. I always screw his name up.
Pharrell,
Apologies.
Pharrell owns the name, so it is Kelis.
Well, Kelis. Look, as an artist, she did it. She's known for it. I understand other people have ownership on it, but I think it's still a courtesy, and I think it's still kind of a slap in the face to not reach out to an artist whose song it's obviously known for.
It's not obvious though. It's not an obvious sample.
Milk.
But to sample a hit record that is somebody's song,
That was a hit record.
and to say that she's featured on it.
What if she didn't know though?
Yeah, it doesn't say she's featured on it.
Yeah, I don't
She's
think
listed as a writer.
She's
So
listed as a writer.
So she's listed as a writer. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Like,
doesn't
what
say
if Beyonce didn't know that?
I'm not saying this is on Beyonce. I'm
Right.
saying this is on the team.
Yeah.
That
in
part.
general. So
That
like,
part.
like
That part.
you know, and in general, I'm under the impression from hearing everything that Pharrell knew exactly what he was doing and knew
He
exactly.
did.
I mean,
So
he didn't even bat an eye at it.
Yeah,
I'm
he
sure.
did. Yeah.
He's
So-
like, yeah, and I own that, and I can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, yeah, I do think that is a slight. I think it's exactly what I watched her videos, and honestly, I have no prerogative to care anything about Kelis or anything she does. I never have before, don't now. But listening to what she said, she didn't seem super upset. She just was like, "Look, it would have been nice."
It's more
It's
more
like a
of
respect thing.
courtey call. Just
Courtesy,
holler at me
you know,
real quick.
And she said,
yeah.
you know, Pharrell knows exactly what he's doing. He's done this before multiple times, blah, 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 blah. So I can dig that. So
Hey,
that's,
the chat said, the flood said, Beyonce probably refers to Kelis as milkshake girl. And then Meek Dog 76 says, my friends don't listen to Beyonce like that. I'm so happy. So
I mean, Kelis should be used to not getting credit. Remember, she the one that said that.
hey, she moved on.
He told Lil Wayne, he told him he should switch to Bapes and all that stuff. She didn't get credit for that either.
Nate Jeezy says, I've listened to the song like 5 times and I still can't find where the
Can't find
sample
it.
is.
Yeah.
To Terry's point.
And who, yeah, exactly. So
I can hear it.
Can you? I don't,
Yeah,
I
more
just haven't
says
heard
you
it.
can
So
hear
I can't even comment.
You know, I mean, but at the same time, like
I want to hear
the
the
fact
version
that they're
now.
able to just yank it out.
And does it,
I haven't heard the new version. Like
Is
I'm
it
just
going-
now seeing on OK. Like I saw it right before we hopped on. That
is it going to change the record though?
I mean, look. First of all, it's
that's my
look.
question.
This is the
record that
thing.
I don't-
When the what's the lead thing? You can't take my soul or whatever. Or you can't break my soul. I don't know.
Yeah. Step your house game up, man.
Yeah, whatever. The thing is, like, you know, they're saying, oh, this is the Crystal Waters
Yeah.
sample, but like somebody, you know, really dug deep into it. Is like that's the remix of on the video version. Like that's not actually the version that's on any of the pressed up versions of like, and so like they really just said, look, it sounds close enough to what people remember that we're just going to go ahead and credit her to save us from having to deal with the lawyers.
Smart.
You know, which is smart. You know what I'm saying? But
Smart.
because people they're going to, you know, a Beyonce record. Oh, I guarantee you, somebody like I this is completely off, but like somebody said, like Will Smith said, I get sued around 50 times a year. You know,
Wow.
just because I'm Will Smith.
Yeah.
I believe
And,
that.
You know,
People want that money.
yeah, and so like Beyonce's probably she's a big enough star to where she's probably already been sued 20 times behind this album. We just don't know about it. You know, it's not going to make super big news, but
She's
there's
used to
going to
it,
be
though.
somebody be like, "Oh, that one lyric, I wrote this in 1987, and it's too similar, and I want some points off the record or $20,000, and I'll be quiet." Like that's just how. That's just how
ain't lying, though.
this works. That's why.
I mean, what's
that's
the
why
name?
you keep lawyers on retainer once you get that rich.
I'm
He
gonna
ain't
give you
lying,
another
though.
example. With Uptown Funk,
Yeah.
Bruno Mars pays
Trinidad
James for saying "Don't Believe Me, Just Watch." He didn't reach out to him and tell him. He just got the sample cleared and added him as a writer. He owns the song. He gets paid.
And I ain't heard Trinidad James say
He's not complaining
about
because he gets paid every time.
He gets-
When that song won a Grammy, he
Trinidad
got a
James
Grammy
got
as
a
well.
Grammy.
Sure did.
So I mean, if you,
I mean,
if you got your
salute to
stuff,
Bruno for doing that.
if you
though.
got your stuff together, then,
Yeah.
then
'Cause like you said,
everything's
it's-
gonna fall in line.
It's not worth it. It's, some people is like, all right, I'll give him a half a percentage of songwriting just so
Yeah.
we don't have to go to court. And
All he
it'll
said
cost me-
was, "Don't believe me, just watch."
And I knew exactly. We knew exactly where he got that from. So, hey, salute to him, man.
well, because you know what, really, I saw this. I don't know. There's this series where they talk about songs that were really big, and they talked about of all things the thong song, and the fact that you know, in the song, Cisco goes and she was living la vida loca.
Yeah.
He got sued
Right.
just for that little piece, and it wasn't considered fair use in any way. And
It's because of how he said it.
yeah, you know, and so you know, I think the guy's name is Max Martin or somebody, and then like Ricky, all these people get broke off a piece of that.
Yeah.
They had to come off a huge check.
Yeah.
Something they could have easily taken out or changed, but you know, they thought it was cool, and it wasn't cool, and it cost them millions of dollars.
Yeah, in TRL days, that made a whole lot of sense for him to keep that
Tough.
line
was,
in there.
Oh yeah, that was a major part of the song.
Yeah,